It's Tuesday, December 13th, 2011. This is Tier 3, Episode 10.
Don't forget the identification.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. We are having big time technical difficulties right now. We don't know how much, it's hard to hear through my headphones. I can't hear anything right now.
I can barely get anything.
But it seems to be picking up on the recording software, so I think
try to plug that in a bit, like try to push that in a bit more. I don't know, maybe it's just...
Yeah, okay, there.
Oh yeah, that's much better.
It's this connection.
Yeah.
We love this studio.
How old is that
See,
thing?
okay, I think we are blasting our listeners' ears out right now, but we can't hear anything.
Yeah, we can't hear ourselves.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Okay, whatever.
Hopefully you heard the intro music, I don't know. Yeah, station ID, KBNO HD2, Omaha. Omaha's only true college radio station. This is Tier 3, Episode 10. There, are you happy?
Yep.
Okay. Let's get into some announcements.
The big news first?
What big news?
Well, the one about us being monitored.
Oh, no, announcements, not news yet.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Okay, well, we missed last week because I had a meeting for work, and it was kind of right when we had to do the podcast, so we didn't have to do that, but I've got that figured out, so we shouldn't have any more problems doing shows every Tuesday at 8. Also, today I secured our time slot for next semester. I tell you what, it was really hard to get Tuesday at 8 again. I was like, I don't know. Apparently no one else wants this time slot. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it's in the middle of the night when no one listens.
Yep.
But no, he was like, yep, you can have it. You got it. Don't worry.
So much work, Eric. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like, oh, great. Next semester it's going to be the same. I don't know how Christmas break is going to work. This might be the last show until next semester. It might not be. You're going to be gone anyway.
I'm not going to be
This
here.
is the last show for you for sure until next
it
semester.
It is.
I'll be here off and on over Christmas break, but I'm not sure if I can get in here to do podcast or not. If I can, there's going to be a show. If I can get in here, one way or another, there will be a show.
I'm not quite sure that they'll be open.
I'm not sure if this will be open. So this could very easily be the last show until January. What, second week in January? Or so?
About 10th, I think.
Yeah,
because I think the 10th is a Tuesday there. I believe so.
Yeah. So it just depends on if we can get into the studio or not. I'd like to do shows over Christmas break, but I'm kind of betting it'll be close, and we'll have to wait until January to start that up again.
So yes, January 10th is probably the first day we will be starting up again, because that is a Tuesday.
When does Christmas break get over?
I think the 9th. 9th is the first day of school. That's a Monday.
That's Monday, so yeah, then the 10th we would have a show for sure.
Yeah, we would. That's funny. Stop messing with that.
I'm trying to fix the audio.
It's so distracting. Stop it.
I'm looking over to make sure we are still broadcasting, and I think we are.
But we don't know if we are, so... so if you can't hear us,
we apologize for this. The studio looks different here tonight, too. All the CDs are on a desk. There's just this massive, huge mountain of CD cases.
I feel like if one tumbles over everything,
we're going to have a mess of CDs on the floor.
Yeah.
What other announcements? I got the album artwork to kind of work on iTunes.
Okay.
And iTunes is back up, by the way. It was down for a while FileDen, my hosting service, was doing some maintenance to their site.
Yeah.
That feeds iTunes for our podcast, so they were down. iTunes was down. Everything was down.
Yeah.
Everything's back up now, so you can go back download all the shows. I think I deleted episode 2 or 3 accidentally.
He didn't like it. He just didn't like it.
It's on YouTube. YouTube, by the way, did not like our last episode.
They kicked us out.
They kicked that one off they took it down. I'm not sure why. I think it's because of the tags, the way I tagged it.
Yes.
Last week was the Victoria's Secret show, and I had that as a tag, along with hacking and infringements and all kinds of stuff like that. So I think that's made. They didn't watch it, clearly, because we didn't talk about anything. I mean, we can't. It's Mad Radio,
yeah.
so I don't think. I think YouTube just kind of takes it down if they think it might be
true.
But,
if it might be infringing rights, like I think they just look over the tags and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, people are going to try and use this to get traffic.
it's
so
on
we're gonna kill
iTunes,
them.
so I wasn't too worried about it. You get 3 strikes on there anyway, so 2
Yeah.
more to use.
Yay!
No, this one, episode 10, will be up on YouTube and iTunes. Everything seems to be working as good as it could be. As good as I could ask
maybe.
for, anyway. The album artwork, like I said, it kind of works. When you go to iTunes to view the podcast without downloading it, the artwork shows up in the store, but when you download the actual podcast, it doesn't come
show
through.
up?
I don't know what the deal is there. I think it's something with Google Feed Burner, but I'm not going
Ah.
to try. I've got it to the point where it shows up in the store. I'm happy with that. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. So,
Oh, wait, let me search on my iPod. Let's actually have a look at that.
I don't think we can... Can we even hear you?
I don't know. Like,
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Oh, so I have to get
you're
really
gonna have
close
to be pretty
today.
close to the mic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my throat's not doing too well.
I'd like it if we could hear anything through the headphones.
There,
but
like
that is just not
just like push it in one time. Okay.
there.
No, nothing
No?
yet. Nothing.
That kind of works.
Yeah. Okay.
This is not a good podcast. Okay.
We are sorry for the technical difficulties, folks.
You want to get into some news? Let's get.
Sure. Yeah. Let's start off something because we might as well just get on with it now.
Like I said, we missed last week, but that's okay because Carrier IQ has been making news for the past about 3 weeks, so we can
Yeah.
just recap everything that's happened with them. Carrier IQ.
Well-
They've been all over the internet. It's a company based out of Mountain View, California, which I think a lot of big technical firms are out of that area. Basically, what they do is they make tracking software, and they provide mobile analytics services for smartphones in the wireless industry. A security researcher, what was his name? Trevor Eckhart, discovered that this Carrier IQ software in one of the HTC phones that he was using, it was collecting all his user data, the device's location, applications on it, and logging every single keystroke.
Yeah, which is kind of
That's scary.
that is very scary. Like,
So-
what would they do with this kind of information?
He wrote about it in his blog, and Carrier IQ. What was ironic? I don't know if he probably didn't do this. He probably did it via a computer, but
Yeah.
it would be very ironic if he had blogged about this on his phone.
And Carrier
Carrier IQ was just
found
like, "Hey,
out.
what are you doing?"
We know what you're doing. Stop it.
But he wrote about it on his blog, and Carrier IQ somehow found out about it, and they went after him big time, which was a mistake for Carrier
I'm
IQ.
actually not surprised that they found out about it because a lot of companies Google themselves almost every day
Oh
to
yeah,
see
they've
what.
got in total divisions of their
Yeah, a
company.
lot of
Yeah.
companies do that because they want to find out what people are looking at, like what people think about them and what all news is up about them, if some of their company secrets have been leaked out or not, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, they found out that he was on his blog talking about how their software was in his phone and how it was doing all this stuff. So they claimed that he was infringing on their copyright by reproducing some of their training material in his post and also defaming them.
However,
And-
this huge attack on him actually made them look more suspicious because if they're
Yeah.
going to jump at it so blatantly, then people will think that they actually have something to hide.
Well, it wasn't really a good idea to go after him like that so blatantly because, yeah, like you said, in an attempt to silence him, they ended up making
Themselves
a lot bigger
more,
deal
yeah.
than what they wanted it to be. According to Carrier IQ, the software is installed on devices by the carriers who are interested in getting these statistics to improve the user experience.
That doesn't
No.
sound right.
I don't know about that. Let's see. Basically, once this blog became public, the public became aware of this blog because Carrier IQ went after him.
Yeah.
A lot of people went out and to try and see if the software was on their phones. Turns out this software is everywhere. Sprint, AT&T, and T-Mobile, since the incident, have admitted to using the software on all their devices. Verizon, Vodafone, and O2.
O2, yeah. Oxygen.
Okay. They've.
This is UK suppliers. These are UK people. European.
I've
and
heard
UK
of
guys.
Vodafone. I've never heard of O2.
O2 is or O2. I think was some part. I can't remember what O2 is basically around. You know, have you heard of Orange?
No.
That was Vodafone.
Okay.
Vodafone was Orange, and now they're Vodafone.
Are these in the U.S. or where?
No, these are usually not in the U.S., but I believe Vodafone has some kind of a code share kind of thing for their international calling, for their international roaming stuff.
Verizon, Vodafone, and O2 denied using Carrier IQ software on their devices.
But then again, these Vodafone's in Europe, so we're also talking about the European market, and generally the entire European side of this incident. So this is not just in the U.S., but apparently all around the world, wherever you can find Android devices.
Right, pretty much. Well, and here's the thing. It's not only Android devices. Apple's iPhone has also been using this software, but it's not quite to the extent that the Android devices have been using it. iPhones don't log the keystrokes, but they do provide technical data like call status and location. I don't know if you guys remember the time... it was quite a while ago. A user was using his iPhone and he found out that it was tracking him exactly everywhere he went. He laid out like a month. He just carried the iPhone around with him. Basic settings, how it was shipped to him. And he overlaid that data onto like a Google Maps, and he could see exactly where he had gone.
Oh my gosh.
So it's kind of scary. You know,
it's tracking people. That's kind of the scary part.
Well, basically, everybody thinks that, everybody knows about it, but they don't really think about it all that much, but it turns out you are being tracked.
Yeah, now you should think about it more than what you would have earlier. So this is kind of an interesting thing to see.
Let's see, Nokia.
I'm kind of glad I'm not using a smartphone right now. My phone doesn't know where I am. Yours probably doesn't. Nokia,
RIP, and Microsoft also claimed that none of their devices ever shipped with Carrier IQ software, and according to Carrier IQ, it's up to the carrier whether this software gets installed.
I kind of find it more difficult to see that the European providers like Nokia and, well, I'm not sure about Microsoft, but I'm pretty sure the European developers of phones would be carrying this less, because seems to be more related to, we'll talk more about this later, but it seems to be more related to American stuff or the USA in general.
Right. Well, we'd like to think that was the end of that story, but it's not. That was like about 2.5 weeks ago that broke. Eckhart came out with it on his blog. Things have just been
blowing up after that for Carrier IQ.
The FBI got involved one way or another. We're not sure how the FBI is involved.
But there are signs of certain collaboration.
Basically, people started wondering what Carrier IQ was doing with this information. Yeah. And the FBI is either... using the information provided by Carrier IQ to the FBI to track users that they want to track for whatever reason, or the FBI is investigating Carrier IQ.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting thing to see.
Basically, the FBI said they have a file with Carrier IQ data. What does that button do?
Sorry, I don't know. Like, mine is off, so I'm kind of wondering what that does.
I don't know. We can hear you, can't we?
Maybe. Push it in one more time. I just want to see if you can actually hear me.
There. Testing. Whoa. Did that make a difference?
I don't know. I can't.
Testing. We're messing with the software now.
Can you hear me now?
Testing. I can't hear you. No, that's a bad... The
Hello?
On this software. Okay, well, anyway.
Can you hear me now?
No. Can you hear me now?
This is weird.
Okay, let's
get on with it.
Back to the FBI using Carrier IQ information. The FBI came out and said they have a file with Carrier IQ information on it, but they didn't say whether or not they were using that information to track users or to investigate Carrier IQ.
That's quite an interesting thing to see, because now it could go either way, and we can't really guess on top of that, because FBI could be doing either side. We don't really know what the U.S. government is up to.
Yeah. But it is interesting. The FBI is involved in this one way or another, whether it's tracking users or investigating into Carrier IQ and what exactly they are doing.
So one way I look at it is, if you think about it, if Carrier IQ is also working in Europe, then there's a chance that if it's actually tracking information even in Europe, it's not actually working with the FBI, because I believe the FBI would only be interested in matters within the borders of the U.S. On the other hand, it works.
Okay. Volume button.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I believe the other possibility is that FBI is investigating Carrier IQ, because if Carrier IQ is working with international providers, then why would they want to give the FBI information about international people, like people in Europe, when the FBI would want to just monitor people in the U.S.?
Well, it's kind of interesting, and we don't really know for certain what the FBI is doing, but Carrier IQ came out and responded to this. As we move on to the next story, we're not working with the FBI. That's Carrier IQ's stance. So the story about the FBI being involved broke on, yesterday. And today, Carrier IQ comes out and says, we're not working with the FBI. Just to clarify, this is Carrier IQ's statement. We have never provided any data to the FBI. If approached by a law enforcement agency, we would refer them to the network operators because the diagnostic data collected belongs to them and not Carrier IQ. So Carrier IQ is kind of passing this on to the
and that actually makes sense in a way. That does sound like what most companies would, like what most law enforcement agencies would do. They would go straight to Verizon. They'd go straight to AT&T, ask them for information. Why would they want Carrier IQ, an outside vendor, to actually be doing this kind of thing?
Yeah, Carrier IQ is kind of trying to stay out of it, is what I feel like. They got themselves into it by going after this guy after he posted onto his blog.
That was a real mistake.
Now they are trying to kind of back out of it a little bit and kind of keep a low profile.
I believe by giving such fast answers to everything that's going on, they're actually making themselves, they're pulling attention to themselves.
They are definitely being investigated, if not by the FBI, by the public.
Yeah, by somebody, definitely. Because if they are actually providing applications, or if they're just providing programs that allow the companies or the wireless providers to monitor what their users are doing to improve user performance or whatever, then then they have to get the person's rights as well. Like, they actually have to ask the person who's using the phone whether or not they want to provide this information.
Yeah.
And that is in a privacy law.
And like on the iPhone, I know there's settings for that stuff, but I've never looked through.
That's one thing. Like, even in the iPhone, at least people know about the settings. In Android, I'm kind of surprised how it's
it's a lot harder.
Portrayed. Yeah, because Android is a bit deeper in a way.
Yeah, and I guess we should have mentioned this earlier, going back to the Carrier IQ software that is installed on most Android devices. The only way to get rid of it, if you actually are paranoid about it and want to, is to root your phone and install...
That's basically like jailbreaking your phone and getting rid of it.
Basically jailbreaking it in Android style.
Yeah.
Is how it'll be on the show notes, so I'm not going to go into details because it gets really technical on how to get rid of this software. But it's not easy to do. Yeah. It's not something the everyday person can go in and do. So if it's included in your phone, it's kind of hard to get rid of.
And if there were like privacy options that said that you could disable this, then I would say that's a lot more sensible, but this definitely doesn't look like that.
Yeah, this is just installed in the background. Right now.
So it's just kind of more scary than you could think.
The keystrokes is what bugs me. I mean, that's in-depth detail. That's everything you do on your phone.
And that basically means like all your passwords, all your information, all the websites you visit, like, and stuff like that, all the texts you send. That is really, I think, getting beyond.
Well, you know what's interesting, kind of talking about this public data being tracked, every single public tweet is logged.
Oh yeah, that is true.
It's basically, think of it as a museum of tweets. It's like this gigantic file. Every single public tweet from Twitter is logged and stored.
But that's actually how Twitter makes its money. Do you actually, like, recently I read more about how Twitter makes its money. So the truth is that they sell rights to certain, like, they buy the rights to post information about certain events, and therefore giving their users the sole rights to be able to post more information about specific things, making them more like an official information site. And therefore, by doing that, they have become one of the main places where advertisers would want their information to be displayed as well. Yeah. Like, if you go and search for something, like if you go and search for shoes, you'll end up finding Nike right on top or something like that. That's because Nike's got a deal with Twitter, yeah. Yep.
So, a lot of people are paranoid about what I mean, if you're really that paranoid about it, don't use these services. Don't get a smartphone, just get a normal phone. Don't get a Twitter, just use email, which is also being... Never mind. There's no way around it. There's just
write the letters. Get a typewriter.
Yeah, typewriter. There you go. Handwrite those letters. Of course, the U.S. Postal Service isn't going to be around much longer, so...
Yeah, you may want to rethink that, too.
There's no way around this.
There's the Morse code. SOS
Morse code, smoke signal.
Oh, yeah, that works.
So Carrier IQ came out, when was this? This was today, too, and tried to explain what they do with your data.
Oh, God.
So now that they've kind of admitted that, well, yeah, something's going on here. We've got all your data. What are you doing with this? Apparently some of the text messages... Oh, yeah, okay. Here's what Carrier IQ said. A bug in our software, under unique circumstances, does cause their software to record SMS text messages. These circumstances could include when a user receives an SMS during a call or during simultaneous data session. I assume that means like you're on the web using data and you get a text message at the same time, something like that. So anytime that happens, those logs are generated and the text messages are stored. But Carrier IQ says everything's encrypted and unreadable. So,
but they read it, so why do they read it?
They also say that MMS, email, websites, and other media aren't being captured. They don't record those, but who knows at this point? Because it's just
people. They will actually have to analyze that software. To be able to figure out what it's actually doing. But I believe now people will analyze it because they actually know there's a software in there. So a lot of people will take apart their phones and find out what it does.
Yeah, we definitely haven't heard the end of the story.
Yeah.
But that is the end of that for today. There's a lot of Carrier IQ news. I'm surprised that actually hasn't been making like
real
news headlines in the like TVs and on Drudge and stuff like that. I'm surprised I haven't seen it on there. It's just been mostly on tech websites, but a lot of people are concerned about it. A lot of people are paranoid about that kind of stuff. So let's get into some Verizon news. We have like a couple bits. Verizon is preparing 2 4G Droid tablets for later this month. This was on December 1st. Like I said, it's supposed to be last week, but we missed last week. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything about these other than they've got 2 Droid tablets about ready to come out. I think they set
them up for pre-order beforehand already, so I think they already have them up there so you can order them, but I'm not quite sure how that works because I'm not really into the market.
We'll just go over some of the specs. They both have a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, 1 gig of RAM, 5 megapixel cameras in the back, and a 1.3 megapixel. Why are all the front-facing cameras
so bad? Yeah,
I don't understand why the pixels change from.
I think it's just because having 2 high-res cameras in handheld device is kind of difficult.
But you're not running them at the same time.
Maybe you are. That's a question. If you got to switch between one and the other, you got to activate both of them.
I don't understand why that happens. Has to be.
But I think they can still manage to get at least better than a 1.3 megapixel.
Yeah.
They could probably at least have like a 2.5 megapixel.
I guess everybody assumes that a front-facing camera is only going to be used for video chat.
Yeah.
You're really close to the camera.
You don't really need to have it in high resolution. You don't want people seeing all the
nose hairs,
discolorations, and
both tablets also feature Corning's tough Gorilla Glass. That's cool. I like seeing that on tablets because that tablet glass tends to take a lot more beating than a laptop.
Just shoot it.
Although I really want to see that glass show up in laptops too, because that glass is amazing.
The problem with laptops is that it would literally burn up the price then, because a lot of laptops are still in the market just because of their affordability and their power compared to the tablets at this point.
Both of these tablets are thinner than the Zoom, but they both have kind of similar design features, and it doesn't say when to expect them out, so I'm not sure. It just says later this month, so you can look for those. They might be on pre-order, might not. We don't know that much about them. But 2 new tablets. The tablet field is just exploding. Amazon's Kindle, the Kindle Fire.
The Kindle Fire is quite interesting, actually, because it's not your conventional tablet, but at the same time, it's not just the Kindle anymore.
It's geared more towards books, still reading and stuff like that. But it does all the tablet stuff too.
But it's more geared towards the entertainment part and simple games. Whereas tablets, a lot of tablets nowadays are geared towards business as well, and have a lot of those applications which do things like that.
That's a good way to put it. The Kindle Fire is more towards entertainment stuff. Yeah, like an iPad. You can do entertainment, all that stuff, but it also has
the business applications.
Yep. So, the way it takes forever to pick out a tablet. It's kind of
funny because even my dad now, like even international markets now are using the iPad so much for business applications. So even my dad got it recently, and he's like, he kind of likes it, but he just doesn't use it that much.
Yeah.
He's still he still likes using his laptop.
The laptop, yeah. I feel the same way. If I were to get one, I think I would still use my laptop.
He finds the portability very useful, though. Yeah. Like if he goes onto a plane and he has to get some information like prepared on the flight, he doesn't need to pull out his laptop now. He can just use this.
Wasn't someone just, I forget which celebrity was just kicked off a flight for not shutting off their iPad or something like that?
I'm not sure, but that sounds pretty funny.
And Verizon, moving on to Verizon news, Verizon accidentally sent a scary emergency alert telling people to take shelter. This was today, I think, wasn't it? Earlier today?
Yeah.
If you live in New Jersey and you're listening to us...
Okay, Eric, sure.
That's a good one.
Enough of the jokes.
No one's listening to us. But if you know someone who lives in New Jersey...
We're just talking to ourselves.
Anyway, people in New Jersey were wondering what in the world was going on today. Verizon sent out to like three. It was kind of confined to three counties. Yeah. Monomouth. What kind of county is that?
Something.
Oh, what? Monomouth, Ocean, and Middlesex. 3 counties with the craziest names.
Yeah.
But those are New Jersey counties, and Verizon Wireless users in those counties got the following alert on their phone. Civil emergency in this area until 1:24 p.m. EST. Take shelter now. U.S. govern. They didn't even decide to put the mint on the end. It was just U.S. govern. Too many characters.
Govern.
Cut that short.
There's no more space.
U.S. govern.
No. Next time, I'm pretty sure next time they can just do run.
Run. Yeah, don't overtime. Don't too many characters. Not
just run.
Why 1:24 p.m.? You can take shelter until 1:24 p.m. If you wait...
I think it's because Chuck Norris was going around.
1:25, you'll be okay. 1:23? Nope, 1:24. 1:24 is the magic number here. Well, it turns out...
Not 1:30, just 1:24.
Well, it turns out the entire message was a mistake anyway.
Yeah.
A spokesperson...
apparently the cops think that it was just a malicious message. People were just messing with the network and found some kind of... vulnerability and just managed to exploit it and send out this message. On the other hand, Verizon says something else. Eric.
Well, Verizon says the message was a test message that wasn't clearly identified as a test message.
Because they didn't have enough space to push the test thing.
Yeah, I don't understand how the police are involved and think that it was maliciously
I think it's possibly Verizon may not want it to be... If it was maliciously sent, Verizon wouldn't want to say that anyway, because then people would know Verizon's network has been compromised. Like it's not very. It doesn't seem very likely, but the reality is that Verizon wouldn't want to tell people about it anyway.
There's enough hacking going on right now anyway.
Yeah, there's enough hacking going on in different companies, so Verizon wouldn't want to say that their networks got hacked. So I don't know. Like I don't think the police can. I don't know if this can be considered such a big thing, because if it's just within 3 counties. But then again, like, why 3 random counties? Why would they get a test message?
Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions about this.
But unfortunately, I believe we might have heard the last of this, because this doesn't seem like it's going to be investigated that much
What would you do if you got that civil emergency in this area until 1:24 p.m.?
And
take shelter now,
it's
U.S.
actually
government.
CMAS. What is the full form of that?
Where do you go? I don't know what CMAS is.
No, because I heard when I was reading, it was saying the CMAS is actually the National Emergency Broadcasting thing for messaging, which has been notify, like which is actually considered as an actual usable
for
thing for
natural
emergency
disasters.
Yeah.
Big, like a terrorist attack, something like that. Alerts would go out through this service. But
so, and the best part is people are actually calling the cops and dialing 911.
A lot of people dialed 911 when they got this.
Yeah, and they're like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, what would you do if you got where do you go? Take shelter now. Under your desk? What?
Basement.
I mean, well, you have to know what's coming, though. Shouldn't they tell you what happened in this
Okay,
text?
if you have an earthquake, you can't go in the basement because if your house collapses, it'll fall on you.
Well, if you have an earthquake, I assume you know that that's what's going on.
Yeah, but then again, if you were in your basement and like you didn't have enough time to escape, you'd be dead. So you wouldn't go in your basement.
Lose
and on the other hand, if there was a tornado and you went outside to avoid getting trapped in your house, you're dead anyway because of tornado.
I think they need to tell you what's happening in this
Civil
text,
emergency.
so that you kind of have a direction of which way, where you should go to take cover.
It's more like saying civil emergency. Wait.
Civil emergency?
Hold on. Is it okay if I say that?
No. We don't want to get political.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. Civil emergency. Chuck Norris was angry. Run away.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions about it. It's
not.
Not.
Weird.
They should not let this happen again because people start distrusting the service, I think, and not taking it
because
seriously.
That's a really serious issue. Because if there was a real emergency sent nationwide, then some counties wouldn't act like we're.
I got another alert.
Yeah,
message.
it's fake. It's a fake message. Yeah. Avoid it.
Well, and they said in the article, a few people, I don't know how many, thought that this one was fake. And you're like, what in the world is this?
Yeah, because the timing and stuff is kind of iffy. Like 124.
Well, and what's interesting is a lot of people went to the news to look for news that wasn't there because they were like, civil emergency, let's go to see what's going on the news, and nothing's going to the average afternoon news. So, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, Apple. You've got our usual Apple bits.
Okay, any of those... Oh, sorry. Any of you aspiring app developers out there, this is going to come maybe as a little bit of a shock, and this is going to be a bit difficult to digest.
It's not exactly easy to get into the iOS App Store's top 10.
Yeah.
To get into the iOS App Store's top 10, your app has to take at least 30,000 downloads per day.
Yeah.
That is a lot of downloads.
So even if you miss 30,000 downloads a day, you're no longer.
And that's in the U.S. alone.
Yeah.
That's just in the U.S. Apple's worldwide. So there's a lot of numbers that aren't even being figured into that.
Yep.
I mean, I would expect that.
I believe
to
it's
double, triple.
No,
if you
I think
include
it's
the world
80,000 downloads a day, including Europe and including I think certain parts of Asia.
And what's crazy is some developers are saying that depending on the day, some of those apps are doing 200,000 to 300,000 downloads.
Actually, that is believable because some people may have just noticed the app and it may have just become a hot topic or something like that, and or it may have made an appearance on Facebook or something, and people are all of a sudden interested in it. And think about it this way: if you have news on Facebook, then your application basically just travels like wildfire because Facebook people always are on it and people just keep looking at it anyway.
It's just crazy. If you're developing apps for iOS, make them good because you're going to need a lot of downloads to get into the top 10.
Or make them noticed.
Yep. And then Siri is just broken. A lot of people are not liking the way Siri turned out. We all thought it was going to be really cool when they announced it at the keynote, and we were all expecting high things, maybe finally some voice recognition that would actually work. And it turns out it doesn't. A lot of people are not happy with this. Turns out it's in beta. If you actually go to Siri's website on Apple,
that's why I was
it's in beta.
I was actually suspecting that's why the developer, the actual creator of Siri, resigned from Apple. Maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe he actually believed that this is what would happen. And
it's crazy. What is Apple going to do? Because he resigned. The software is still in beta. So how are they?
They're just going to have to pull it off. They can't do anything with it. This is going to be one of Apple's first real failures.
Well, is it, or are they going to get more people on it?
The problem is if they get more people on it, they need to make it better. And I don't know, it may change the entire way it works, and then it may take even longer to actually configure. Well, if they just took it back into development stage and had it refigured and like reconfigured and rebuilt, then it's possible. But it's quite possible that they won't even get back with it. That's a problem. The risk in this kind of thing is really big.
Well, it's just unfortunate that it happened because a lot of people were expecting this to be
the big thing.
Big thing with the iPhone.
4S.
What are we on?
4S.
I don't even know anymore.
Giving up on Apple.
That is sad.
Giving up on Apple, I see.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather be tracked.
Yeah,
on
it's
Android
kind
anyway, so.
of disappointing. I think Steve Jobs was a major pusher in Apple. Now, since he's gone, now it's been a real.
It'll
downfall.
be interesting to see what happens with this after Steve's not in Apple anymore.
He's not in the
Siri is the
broken
head design. Siri's broken. The head of design for Siri is resigning.
Yeah, he already resigned.
Resigned.
That's the point.
Interesting times for Apple.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens.
I don't know. Apple's turning into again one of those. As I said before, I kind of expected Apple to lose its position because of the lack of Steve Jobs, because of the way they're working now. It doesn't see, they seem to be trying a lot more to actually do advertising instead of actually creating quality products. I'm not quite sure.
I think the big thing for Apple is staying ahead in the tablet market right now with the
because
iPads.
the iPad is doing
because
better.
there's a lot more competition though coming with tablets. Tablets from the Android side are getting better and better all the time.
Yeah, because iPhone still is doing very well in terms of the phone market, but the iPad may see some real competition coming in, and with the lack of Apple's ability to react to these kind of things, I think they may face huge trouble.
Well, they're not used to having to react to that. Their pros have always done good.
But that's a problem. Their pros are disappearing now. Or like, I don't know, the people are just not doing what they used to.
They need to come out with a new product, entirely new, and I think it could be Apple TV.
But come on.
I think Apple TV is what could do it.
No, but I find that could be a mistake too. Then, like trying to invest time into a new product where when your other products are not working may be a big mistake, because you also know the same thing. They never went into the iPad until their iPhone was a huge success.
Yeah.
You do know that like their iPhone 3 was a huge success, and then they came out with the iPad, and the iPad was immediately a success just because Apple was doing so good. People had so much faith in Apple, they just went and bought their things. They actually liked it, and they were excellent products at the time.
Yep.
The loss of Steve Jobs may be one of the biggest hits Apple takes.
They got to get something new. Apple TV, I'm telling you.
Oh, gosh.
A lot of people want it. A lot of people would buy it.
Such a big screen. It's going to be a touchscreen. I don't know how well it will work. What's with the game?
Well, this is... We were running low on time, so we'll have to just touch on this. But the Red Cross... let's see. The Geneva Convention... Wasn't there just a... this was about a couple weeks ago. The 31st International Conference of the Red Cross and Red Crescent in Geneva, Switzerland. Basically, they held a side event during that convention to discuss the influence video games have on public perception and action, whatever that means. But basically, they are trying to decide whether war crimes in video games should be punishable and illegal. And basically... There hasn't been any decision on this made yet, but if they go through and they decide war crimes in video games
should be punishable, then they may not be seeing as many war games coming out with real life looking things.
Basically, how they would enforce this is the question, and basically they would go to the developers of the games and make them enforce it, and basically you wouldn't see
games like Modern Warfare very often, because Modern Warfare focuses around real life. Like, it makes it look so much more real life because of how it portrays the U.S., the America's war capabilities and Russia's war capabilities, and how it actually represents real countries. Like the entire Call of Duty thing, the Call of Duty games, which are focused around World War I, World War II, seemed a lot more conservative, because now you're talking about things that are in our time and how it may influence like kids of our time.
I just don't think it would affect me that much.
It wouldn't affect people that easily, but doing war crimes, like if you played Call of Duty and then you became a part of the army, and then in the army your view was just like you just didn't have a clear view of what was good and bad because of the game. Then
the army uses Call of Duty to train their soldiers, though.
That's like the surprising part. But they have a different view towards it. Like, people actually take it seriously. But if somebody plays Call of Duty and then joins the army, then it's a different view because they're thinking the army does things like that.
I can see what
like
you're
actual
saying.
war crimes and stuff. That is bad.
It's interesting. I just don't think. I mean, it's to the point now where Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, I could take it or leave it. I mean, it's not going to be if those games don't show up anymore.
I wouldn't mind.
I'm not going to miss them.
Because Modern Warfare 3 for me, definitely, and for a lot of people,
I'd rather play.
I'd
rather play Legend of Zelda and or Mario, and I don't think there's any war crimes in those. So whatever. That's going to about do it for us this week, though. We may or may not be back next week. You may hear from us over break. You may not.
Well, you won't hear from me, so.
Yeah, Jay's gone. I think pretty much everybody else will be gone. So if you do, it might just be me if I can even get in here. But otherwise, more than likely, we're thinking, what, the 10th? Is that what it is?
Yeah, 10th of January.
We'd be back. So.
Oh, lonely Eric.
Yeah, I know. I apologize for missing last week, but that shouldn't happen
anymore. Except the break.
Once we get into next semester, we should be pretty regular.
Yeah, because we do have free time now. Like, at least I have a pretty planned out schedule to go around this.
I feel like we made up for it on this podcast, though. We warned people about their cell phones. So we could be... We're not saving lives.
We're saving privacy.
Yeah, we are saving privacy. That's what we are doing. Mission accomplished.
Yes.
So, good podcast. We will see you guys January 10th, brother. Oh, crap. We need exit music. Okay.
La la la.
I don't want to blow our ears out because now we can hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We will see you guys sometime in the near future.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Have a good break, guys.
And have a good break.
Have good holidays, whatever. Holidays.